All right, welcome to today's PJ and the Beard episode. Today we're going to talk about our favorite YouTube channels. And what you heard in the beginning were some samples of some pedals that we specifically bought because we watched YouTube reviews. The pedal I was playing was the Electro Harmonix Canyon. I mentioned in a previous episode, play a lot of worship. Played with a lot of guys that use shimmer. Didn't even know what shimmer was. Once I figured out what it was, I'm like, I've got to have it. And I like pedals with features, but I buy the Canyon. I think it does the shimmer thing well. It does a bunch of other stuff that I don't use it for. But the demos on Electro Harmonix webpage, YouTube page, is fantastic, right? So that's why I picked that pedal. That's what we were doing in the beginning. And I think
for me, both of these are from watching YouTube's, right? Reviews. The King of Tone, after being on a waiting list for a year to get the King of Tone was one that I watched so many reviews on. And so I'd like to tell you whose review I actually watched that sold me. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't believe it. I was a non-believer. I was this is way overhyped. This is way over, they're selling for Reverb twice as much as they're selling for new. So I figured if you get on the waiting list and you buy it, you can sell it for more than you bought it for. Let's check it out. And, people will probably disagree, but I don't think it's overhyped.
Yeah, because this channel is all about what works for us. May work for you, may not work for you. It may be the thing that's really hyped up, and it might be something that, what are you talking about?
Right, and so I wanted a cheap DM2 to put on a travel board, take the blues jam. I wanted that analog. So think DM2 from Boss, think MXR carbon copy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think Shane from In the Blues demoed that Donner pedal. I think that's who it was. Demoed the Donner Yellow Fall pedal at one point. And that's what it is. It's, it does the job. Mm-hmm. And it does it well. Yeah. So, like Pat said, I think this video is basically a shout out to those guys that we follow, that we like, that we watch on YouTube. Pat was talking about the rabbit hole. When you get into the rabbit hole of YouTube, who are you watching? And I think we talked about there's a couple reasons that we go there. One, if we want to see a pedal, if we're looking for a specific pedal. Right. Two, things, after you do that enough, things pop up in your feed.
Yeah.
But there are those guys out there that we find ourselves going back to. These are the guys that we subscribe to, get notifications for. These are the guys that we watch. So I think starting out, I want to throw a shout out to the guys that do some of these channels that there's more than one guy involved. Mm-hmm. So think Reverb. You have a lot of different guys in Reverb doing that now. Andy from formerly of Pro Guitar Shops is over at Reverb. Some of the best demos online, I think. PRS Guitars. Awesome stuff coming from their YouTube channel. Premier Guitar. Awesome stuff coming. I think we'll mention them again later, lots of guys there doing lots of great things. TC Electronics, EHX, Sweetwater. If you like the star quality, Frank Stallone showing up at Norman's Rare Guitars. They always have kind of cool things popping up on their channel. Great one to follow. And Chicago Music Exchange is another great one to follow.
And a side note, if you ever get a chance to go there, go there. I got a chance to go there about a month ago. It was mind-boggling.
Yeah. The pictures were good.
Yeah, that's an actual brick and mortar place you can actually visit.
So, how do you want to do this? You want to start with a couple? You want to go back and forth?
You can go back and forth a little bit.
All right. So if no particular order here. Okay. So we're giving these aren't we have maybe. I think the time we're shooting this, 17 subscribers on this channel, so this is certainly not.
I think it's a minute per subscriber is what we've averaged.
It's probably not. This is not the greatest YouTube award that you could ever get. But these are the guys that we like.
Yep.
So in no particular order, one of the guys I've been watching the longest though that really got me into the rabbit hole of YouTube videos, I think, is Shane from In the Blues. Shane does tons of demos. He does tons of reviews. He brings in cool new pieces. He's always got new stuff going on. He even has a side channel now called Techie, Nerdy, Geeky. I don't know what it's called, but it's something like that where he's talking about how to get your YouTube channel set up, and I've watched some of those. So definitely one of my go-to guys on the internet, and He's doing some great stuff. So if you've never checked out In the Blues, I'd highly recommend going to that channel, checking it out. Who do you got?
Well, I have Andertons, which could wind up at the top of the first list we talked about of the everybody. It's like the Norm from Cheers. Everybody knows your names because Andertons has really positioned themselves as a web presence. Matter of fact, I think in the last 2 NAMMs they've won the top award for that. But it's an interesting channel. They have a lot of different characters, different people that work in the store, different people that do demos. One of my favorites is Danish Pete. That guy can play guitar, man. So for me, these YouTube channels are about the personalities and about the playing, which, you know, we've got to up our game in playing a little bit, but the personalities we enjoy watching. So I enjoy Andertons. I enjoy the breadth of what they review. They also have a little star quality with the actual musicians. They've interviewed Paul Reed Smith himself and all kinds of things. So I enjoy Andertons. Again, probably not an unpopular choice, not some diamond in the rough, but I really have grown to enjoy that channel and hope to visit that store if I'm ever in the UK.
Yeah, how about it? I'm going to throw out JHS Pedals.
Yeah.
Josh. Last year, I was sitting in Canada, the first JHS pedal demo, or pedal episode came out that I saw anyway. It was a great episode. I've been watching him ever since. One of the things I really like about Josh is that he's just like, he's totally into gear, and he's not doing a pedal, much to his credit, he's not doing a show about his pedals. He's doing a show about different effects. He's doing
the history of reverb, the history of delay. Yeah,
right. He happens to make some great ones.
Yeah, he does.
But, you know, I'm going to be honest, I don't know about you, I don't own a JHS pedal.
Not yet.
But
if you're listening,
Josh, you're doing a good job because it's on the list, and we will be a JHS pedal soon that we'll probably have on the show because I have to pick one up at some point, just because of the cool stuff you're doing over there.
So the next one for me is Know Your Gear, Philip McKnight. I'm not even sure how I found him, but who appears to be a genuinely nice guy, completely unassuming guy, does great reviews of things. He's got a breadth of, he's got a lot of pedals, he's got a lot of guitars, and he's pretty honest, usually kind about things if he didn't like them, and he would maybe explain why he didn't like them. But again, I don't know how I found him, and I do need to get one of his shirts, and I'll shamelessly wear it on our show. But I really have enjoyed him. I think, again, he's the kind of guy you'd want to sit and have coffee or a beer with or whatever. Seems like a genuinely nice human being, does really good demos and reviews.
Absolutely. I don't think you can bring up YouTube channels that talk about guitar without bringing up that pedal show.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Now, we haven't gotten up to the hour and 15 minutes yet.
No, I want to.
We're headed that direction.
I want to thank Dan and Mick for allowing us to sit back and say, you know, is it important to do 5-minute videos because that's all people watch, or is it important for us to sit here and have fun and talk to people? And like the Weekend Warrior approach of, we're not judging you, and you know, this is a place for us to hang out, and it doesn't have to be about being a superstar, but they've certainly inspired us to say, you know, it can be as long as we want because they do our shows. I have fallen asleep watching their
Nothing
show,
personal,
right, on many occasions, and had to wake up and rewind it because, you know, their content's that good. But they go so, like, if you want to get in depth and really understand what a vibe pedal is, or really understand what a wah pedal is and how it works in front of different things, those are the guys to check out. So definitely, that pedal show is a place that you should be checking. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a rabbit hole for you.
Yeah. And they're also good players, too, man. Like, that's what just blows me away.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Because sometimes you're techie and sometimes you're a player. In this case, you get both out of them. It's unbelievable.
Amazing.
So the next one for me, I'll be honest, Souter didn't know about it. I mentioned him. He goes and looks him up. He's got like 600,000 subscribers. Music is Win. Tyler, his last name escapes me at the moment. I can't even remember how I stumbled across him. It kind of does some quirky stuff, some goofy stuff, some funny stuff. Shoots it at his house most of the time. But a really good player. He's also got like an instructional series. I saw him at NAMM last summer, set up, shooting footage there. And, again, although I'm holding Yamaha today, we love PRS. And he's got quite the PRS collection. He's been to the PRS experience. I think recently got to interview Paul Reed Smith at NAMM. So interesting, funny content. Really great player. Again, seems like a genuinely nice human being as well. So you can see I have a mold. I have to be a nice player, good player, and they have to have PRSs. But.
Yeah, well, definitely the nice and the good part. I'm not sure. Roman from Shnobel. Do you think that's what that is? Shnobel Tone? You're not familiar with this one.
No.
Stumbled upon him because, like we were talking about, sometimes you're going out and looking for a pedal, right? So somebody posted something about a tremolo pedal by Swindler Effects. And that's how I think I stumbled upon him and bought the pedal because of his review.
Right.
And then he does so many other cool pedal reviews, and he has a real nice kind of clean way of doing the pedal reviews that I really appreciate. He does some other stuff. If you've seen the pedals with built-in tuner. So he's doing a mod where he takes a TC Poly tune and mods it into the top of a volume pedal. So you get your tuner and volume pedal all in one thing, and he has some things going on with that. He has a lifetime string for the volume pedal he's using that supposedly won't break. So he's doing some like cool stuff in addition to the reviews and stuff. So cool person to check out.
Mm-hmm. Another one for me, and I don't remember how I stumbled across him, but GregsGuitars. You want to see a guy play a million different guitars from vintage to reissue. Again, it's his playing that caught my eye. Just a really tasteful player. Again, mostly, I don't even know if he even talks, to be honest with you. He just like 1964 335, and boom, he's got something looped. Looks like he's sitting in his very Euro apartment somewhere across the pond, and just a really good player. A lot of different guitars that he plays. Again, it's entertainment value, maybe more than information in that particular case. But he'll go through the pickup selections and just play. Again, I don't even know that he even talks. But if you like good playing, like to see a little guitar candy, go check that one out.
Next one for me, and I know I'm going to mess this up. We've talked about how you might say this. Sebastian Falvo Music.
Yeah, Falvo, I would say.
This is and he's not a huge YouTuber. He's not hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I'm not going to say how many he has because I'll get it wrong. But we dig Love Pedal. We've mentioned it in other shows. Mm-hmm. It will come up again. We dig Love Pedal. Love Pedal does cool stuff. So they do these sales. We've told you about getting on the super secret mailing list and finding out about the super secret sale.
And if you use our name, you get charged double. Just remember that.
Yeah, and Sebastian has gone through just about, well, probably not every, but he's gone through a ton of Love Pedals. So almost every Love Pedal I've been interested in, wanting to check out, he has a review of it, and his reviews are killer. I mean, his playing is great. He plays that gold top Les Paul through a variety of different amps, but his playing's great, and definitely somebody.
It looks like he's in an apartment that anybody could come just knocking on the door. Anyone will go, turn that down. Right. It's just like real intimate. He's sitting on a couch, even tighter shot than this.
Probably with his iPhone.
Yeah, just an amazing player for one. I mean, that's yeah. I kind of chimed in on that one because I found out about him because this guy turned me on to Love Pedals. So this last one's going to seem really weird. I'm going to say some goofy stuff, but you're going to get to know that from me. So we mentioned Premier Guitar, which, come on, that's they're sort of the gold standard. And one of the favorite things is the rig rundown, and there's several editors that do the rig rundowns. And I've become a John Bollinger fan after, thinking he was a really quirky, weird dude that, I don't know if anybody will resonate with this, but when John Mayer first started to sing and you'd watch him and do those contortions, you're just like,
you
can't watch him. Sorry. And then so that's kind of how I felt about John Bollinger. He just seemed to be starstruck and super nervous. And then I just started watching more and more. And I started, outside of rig rundowns, he'd do product reviews, I think, at his house in Nashville area. And it's him and a buddy with a camera, and he's a great player. I think that's what kind of turned the tables for me a little bit, is his playing. He's a really, really good player. And just as I watched more and more of him, I just realized that's who he is. So then when I see him with Steve Lukather, and wouldn't we all get a little starstruck with Steve Lukather, I just realized that's just John being John. And I had the chance to bump into him at the NAMM show at the Premier Guitar booth, and it was interesting because I watch him all the time. All of a sudden, I'm like, "Wow, John has great hair now. What's up with that?" So it looked really good. So I, being a goofy guy, I just walked up and said, "John, it's gonna be the craziest thing anybody said to you all day. Man, I love your hair." He goes, "Yeah, you know what?" He goes, "Nashville's a young man's game," and I just woke up one day and said, "I'm just gonna be myself." So it's a goofy story about John Bollinger, but he does really great rig rundowns. The guy, he knows his gear. He's a really good player. And another person that is a very fine human being that I've actually had the chance to have just a brief conversation and a gratuitous selfie. So anyway.
I tell you, Pat and I were talking about John Bollinger.
That guy,
to me.
John.
That guy, John. We'll talk like we know him. You met him.
Yeah, right. I have a picture with him.
If we were at the pedal show, we have a horn right here.
Yeah.
Right? Let's shout out to the
right,
pedal show.
Yeah.
But we were talking about him. He has this we're not going to go into it. If you want to figure it out, go find out for yourself. But he has a really kind of interesting backstory, and the more you learn about him, the more you just you like him and appreciate who he is. And you're right, playing. I even remember at first just not getting it at all, and then all of a sudden it all kind of fell into place. So,
a good friend of mine in Nashville says, "I think you got a man crush on Sean Bollinger," but don't tell him that. That'll just be more awkward than it already is.
It's pretty awkward.
Yeah, it is.
I had one more I threw on there. Mike Herman's. He is popping to the comments. So all of these that we're talking about here, we have the links. If you go down in the description, there's a link to every channel. So really, the benefit of this particular episode for anybody, if you just don't want to listen to us, is all the links are down in the description. You can go down, click on the links, and check out every different YouTube channel we've talked about.
Because as we've talked about, somebody's found the links already and clicked away. So we're just talking to ourselves at this point because we've given them such good links to go chase down.
Good episodes.
We gave them so many better channels to go look at.
But Mike Hermans was the last guy I have. He used to do his channel used to be Pop Into the Chemist. I'm not sure if he's still over there. He has his own channel now under his name. He does reviews, has done reviews for, he might have did Pro Guitar Shop. He's done a bunch of other places. But the way he does reviews, the arrangements of the songs that he creates to do the review, just go check him out. I got nothing else.
Right.
Just go check him out.
Yeah.
So, I think... Oh, wait. You know what? Let's give 2 more shout-outs.
All right. I'm peeking at the notes here.
2 more shout-outs. Yeah, I'm looking down at the notes. 60 Cycle Hum. He does some great stuff. He has some interesting stuff. I would definitely go check out Ryan at 60 Cycle Hum. And Henning... I don't know how to say it. The link will be down there. It's like EYTCH Pi 42 or something. Yeah. It's a weird name.
It's more confusing than Russian language.
But I've gotten into his channel. He's done some reviews on stuff I've been looking for. He's been informative. If you thought John was quirky at first, Henning, I'm sorry, man, you're quirky. But I don't think that comes as news to him. I think he knows that, and so I guess we love him for that. But I love anybody for being original and doing what they do. So, worth checking him out, too. And I think, other than that, that was the whole kind of episode.
Yeah.
So, hanging out tonight, playing some guitar, there's a couple things we have to record, but we thought this would be kind of a cool one. As we're starting out this YouTube channel, there's a reason, right? So, one of the reasons is we get to hang out, we get to play guitar, we get to talk about gear. For 2 years or more, we've been saying to each other, hey, I got this, you ought to try this. Hey, I got this, you ought to try this. And never had the opportunity to do it. And this has made that happen, which is awesome. And we'd love for you to join us on that journey by subscribing. But these are kind of the guys that made us, I think, sit back at some point and go, that looks like a lot of fun.
Right.
That looks like fun.
So maybe in the comments, you can tell us who some of your favorite channels are and talk about how awkward it was with my John Bollinger man crush. Whatever you want to put in the comments. But basically, what channels do you watch?
That's a thing, because how many of those... The Andertons boys and John Mayer.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
They
have a whole hashtag for that amongst themselves.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I guess I'm in good company is what you're saying.
Yeah. That's
that...
It's 2019.
Yeah. With that, I am PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you that no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. Were you thinking about John Bollinger doing that? Because I was. Peace out.
I can't even.